As a Hall of Famer, when you see Hall of Famers inducted, what's it mean to you?
No, I mean, it's very special and meaningful because you know what it means for them. You know what it meant for you in that moment. A lot of the guys, like Roger Craig, who I had a chance to play against and get a chance to know. Larry Fitzgerald, who's, his dad was in sports journalism. Remember seeing him on the sideline of Viking games. Obviously, Luke Kuechly, a guy that I always knew I'd want to stay away from if I ever played against him. Adam Vinatieri, I mean, what he's meant, to the game in big moments, and Drew Brees. But, yeah, just understanding what those moments mean for them and what it'll mean for them going forward is very special.
And that is the ultimate honor, one of the most elite fraternities that exists in this sport. But another honor that was announced last night, Matthew Stafford won league MVP, an award that you won almost 30 years ago now. What was that like that for you to watch Matthew Stafford, a former Detroit Lion, a guy who probably only has one or a couple of years left in his career, be honored as league MVP?
No, it was awesome to see Matthew and his family and his daughter's there on stage, and I think I speak for I'm not going to say the majority of Michiganders and Detroiters, but I think there's a good number of us that still take some satisfaction, in the success that he's had, and wish him well, and even that, when he won the Super Bowl, his first year away from Detroit, I think there's a lot of us cheering him on. And certainly even him, I mean, you see at the level that the guy's still playing at, I think he has 10 years left in him. I mean, but he's, it's great to see him performing at a high level, especially looking at some of the serious injuries that he's had over the last few years. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And I can kind of remember when I won the award, but great for Matthew.
How did you celebrate when you won?
I don't know. I don't think honors was around back then, but I'm pretty sure I probably had a good meal or something, but I'm not even sure. But it's awesome. It's awesome to be thought of as the best player in that season, right? And so that's meaningful. I think about the players that I played with. And because it was my 9th year in running for 2,000 yards, and realizing that that's one of the hardest things to do in this business, and so it's something I really cherish.
You chose to walk away from football early. Matt Stafford let us know last night he's going to come back. How do you know when the right time is to step away?
I think it's sort of it was certainly an individual thing, right? That you have to just be in tune with where you are, and maybe it helps. Maybe it helps to stay around if you won a Super Bowl. Maybe that. Maybe that is great motivation. But he's in a great place. And he's still playing at a high level. But to answer your question for me, I just sort of really knew that in my heart of hearts that drive and determination and everything to continue to play wasn't there. But it does come back to sort of like the individual thing. Where are you in your life and in your career path at that particular moment?
You mentioned it helps to have won a Super Bowl. We've talked a lot, in fairness, about guys like Joe Burrow that are frustrated with losing. You know that experience. What advice would you give somebody that is so premier as a talent, but is with a franchise that can't seem to find a way to maximize it?
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because, Joe Burrow, he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's played in one. I mean, you kind of know what it takes to sort of build in that direction, and I like the fact that I went to the Lions and we weren't a perennial winner and we were trying to build that, and so I think some guys like that challenge. I think this is probably not the greatest example, but like Michael Jordan, with the Bulls. And me being in the Detroit scene for so many years, he could not get over those Detroit Pistons, and then finally he broke through, right? And so yeah, I think if you're an elite athlete, you embrace that challenge, and you realize that, hey, look, there's no guarantee for any of us, right, at the start of the season you're going to end up with a championship or in the Super Bowl or whatever. It's something you have to earn, and I think it's something that makes Super Bowl such a special, unique thing, right? Because the best players in the league don't necessarily always get there, but but generally the best teams do.
You mentioned the Detroit Lions. Despite having some down years, that is such a prideful organization. It is a rabid fan base that is so proud to be from Detroit and representing the Detroit Lions. They've had several great years the past couple of years. Haven't gotten to the mountaintop quite yet, but they've been knocking on the door. What has that been like for you to witness the recent success under Dan Campbell?
Well, it's been a great encouragement, honestly. And it's been a great ride. And ever since Coach Campbell has stepped foot in our organization, things have changed, right? And expectations have changed, and the type of, player in the building has changed, and the expectation from the fan base, So we've seen strides and encouragement and progress pretty much every year, right? And we know that even this year, with us missing the playoffs, we're not far off. I mean, you see how sort of nip and tuck and tough and competitive things were in our division, right? I mean, the leader of the division happened to be the Bears with 11 wins, and the rest of us had 9 wins, right? I mean, that's unique, right? In just the parity that exists within that group. So, but yeah, we're great to have Coach Campbell, and we missed it this year just by a little bit, but we look forward to next year and the challenge that it brings, and everyone's upgrading the division. Obviously, the Bears have, right, and sort of you have to congratulate them on what they've been able to do, and now we feel like. But the interesting thing about it is they won the division. We beat them both times this year, right? So I feel like we're not far off, and so I can't wait till next year to see what happens.
When you watch Jahmyr Gibbs, what stands out to you?
Oh, just his suddenness and how electric he is. He's when he gets the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. And just been a great player for us. So he and David Montgomery just been a great combination. Either one of them could start for a lot of other teams, and so. But yeah, Jahmyr's a great player, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him being an MVP of the NFL at some point.
That's a two-headed monster in Detroit. That run game is so fun to watch. What are some other running backs in the league or in recent history that you've loved to watch?
Saquon obviously has had a great career and had a chance to get to know him. Christian McCaffrey, it's great to see him as a comeback player. Who else? Bijan, since he stepped foot in Atlanta, he's a dynamic player, right? Brandon Jacobs or Justin Jacobs, and the Cook kid, Dalvin's little brother, James Cook. James Cook. Yeah, I think he led the league in rushing this year, right? So definitely a good number of running backs in the game, So there's a lot more on that list. Even the two teams in the Super Bowl this year has good running game. Yeah. I'm excited to see what Kenneth Walker's going to do. I think Zach Charbonnet's out of this game, but he had a great year. And the kid Travion Henderson from Ohio State with Patriots had just a fantastic year. And I think the other back is named Stevenson or something like that. But I think both of these teams like to run the ball, and so I think the running game should figure in well to this game. But those are some other running back tandems in the league that you can look at as well.
Some of those running backs you just mentioned, like a Christian McCaffrey, not only do they run the ball, they're extensions of the passing game as well. The modern running back is kind of a receiver as well. What have been maybe the most fascinating changes that you've seen in the evolution of the usage of a running back?
I think probably 5-6 years ago they were trying to almost like weed us out of the game. Mm-hmm. They were trying to get rid of us. But I think just the versatility of a lot of the guys like Christian, who had it over 1,000 yards rushing, but also almost over 900 yards receiving. And I think guys like Jahmyr, who who kind of have that similar thing where we're trying to give him the ball in space, whether it's handing it off or passing it to him. So I think they're probably a lot more versatile players at running back position, understanding that you have to almost do more with your skill set in today's game.
So you're joining us on behalf of Amgen, but that comes on the heels of a very scary situation. You're connecting with people because of cardiovascular disease, heart attack. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on, Barry.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm excited to join with Amgen, just in getting the word out about general heart health. Because in the summer of 2024, I had a heart attack. I didn't really understand at the time that that's what was going on, and so which I'm learning, and I have learned that that's kind of a similar story with heart attack and stroke victims, not understanding and recognizing those symptoms, right? And so that's why we want to encourage people to have a certain conversation with their doctors about LDL-C or bad cholesterol. The earlier that you can, that you can find out and learn about this, the better your health outcome is going to be. And so it's been a very educational journey. I was able to take part in a documentary where I talk about my story, but also feature 4 or 5 other individuals who had heart attack and stroke, and so yeah, I mean you can go to attackheartdisease.com/documentary, find out about test results or testing options for you as an individual, but certainly again just letting people know to encourage them to have the conversation with your doctor, know your number about your LDL-C or bad cholesterol. Because sometimes you can be doing a lot of things right, and it has nothing to do with necessarily what you're doing. It could be hereditary or anything. So we want to encourage people to have those conversations.
Living, eating, breathing example. I'm in the best shape of my life. I've worked really hard on that, only to find out that I have a ton of heart issues in the same way. So I really respect what you're doing with Amgen. It's really incredible for you to talk about. How are you, by the way?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm doing well, and it's been insightful just interacting with other fans and individuals, just because we all know that it's very common out there. We've all been touched in some way by heart disease and stroke, and so it's been nice to be able to be a part of informing people and hopefully helping them avoid any kind of incidents. It's
an honor to talk to you, man. It's always great to see you, and I'm just it's great to hear this and that you're using your platform yet again to help people. But most importantly, as I've said before to you, it's just cool that we got to watch you for so many years. You have blessed the world in ways you'll never know. So we appreciate you hanging out.